Hey, I'm Evan.
I'm Mike.
Welcome to USSC Stories.
The broken and falling, damned old souls been sent to burn. Nowadays they've been calling, telling me soon gonna be my turn. Head down.
And welcome back to the USSC Stories. Well, we got a special guest with us today. My boy Spencer Wright, joined in 92, retired in 2016, man. If you look on his back wall, man, he got all his accolades and everything back there, man. So, Spence, introduce yourself, man.
I'm Spencer Wright. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. As you see in my shadow box, that's the shape of Rhode Island itself. Born and raised there all the way to 19 years old when I joined the Navy in 1992. Decided to join the Navy because there was nothing else for me to do. There was two options that I could have done. I could have went to the streets, been as what we call a street pharmacist. But my mother would have quickly called the cops on me, told them what I was wearing, and sent me to jail. So that wasn't an option. I wasn't smart enough to apply for college loans or grants or nothing like that. So I went to community college for 2 weeks, and then they started asking for money. So I was like, this ain't for me. So I decided to follow the footsteps of a couple of my uncles and a couple of my cousins. I did it all on my own, surprised my mother, and came home one day. She said, something's different about you. I said, yeah, I'm leaving in a couple of months. I'm going into the Navy. She said, I knew it. So I joined in 92, a year after high school, graduating, and never turned back and never moved back neither.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
It's not often we get people that joined back in the 90s on here and stuff. I mean, we've only had ever one guy on here, but you know, people that we've talked to, they're usually like have joined around the same time we have. So were you a submarine guy? Were you a surface guy?
Always sub. I was always sub.
Yeah.
It's a funny story on how that came to be. Like I said, I had two cousins that joined joined before me. One was a radioman surface and one was a SH, you know. So I didn't want to follow their paths. When I joined, I wanted to make my own, you know, because as a younger cousin, I used to follow them all the time anyways. So I said when I went into the recruiting office, because I took an ASVAB and I really didn't pay attention, I just took it just to take it. My score was obviously low. So I went in there, I said, I want to be a pilot. I want to fly planes. I want to do something, you know, top
cool shit. Yeah.
You know? So I was like, yeah, I want to do something like that. So obviously, of course, you find this stuff out after you join. So he's like, yeah, how about this? And he slid me some papers. I was like, that's not nothing to do with the sky. He showed me undesignated submarines. I was like, well, okay, I guess that could be cool.
Yeah.
I ended up, that's how I made my own way. So I was undesignated, striker, with submarines. I just thought that was something different.
So I know the striker program is long gone now. How was that, you know, how was your process of being a striker early during them times, especially qualifying and all that stuff?
I think it's, to me, it was one of the best options for me. So I'll equivalent it to going to college. Most people go to college, they choose a major or they choose a career, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And then they get halfway through and they're like, I don't really want to do that shit. So they switch majors.
Yeah.
Well, in the Navy as a striker, you get to go in and choose. You get to work with all the different rates and see what they do, see how they interact, and see what time they go home and stuff like that. So for me, I had no clue of nothing that was going on besides the stories that my cousins used to tell me. And those was all about their Liberty ports and stuff like that. So when I went in, I cranked for 151 days.
Shoo, boy.
God damn.
Yeah. Well, that's another story in itself. So I cranked for 151 days, and for some reason the cop thought I was going to be a cook. I was like, are you crazy? Why would I want to be a cook when I just did this for, you know, more than anybody else on the boat?
Yeah. So for people that might have forgotten or haven't seen our earlier vids, what is cranking?
Cranking is what is equivalent to a what we call now a food service attendant, and they're just a server. They serve your food, they clean up after you, they wash your plates, and they assist the cooks with the running of the meals.
A lot of dishwashing stuff like that,
a lot of dishwashing, a lot of 2-bucket methods and stuff like that.
We've all had to do it.
Yeah. There was no Swiffer brooms or nothing back then when I joined. It was on your hands and knees, one hot and soapy, one cold water, and literally I had a scene chief that he lived and died by that.
Man, so, you said 100-something days though. Golly,
151. Bro. I'll never forget. 151.
Shoo! I think I did like 60-something days. I think maybe a little bit longer than that. Yeah. I thought that was a long time. God,
that was usually the basic requirement, 60-something days. And if they liked you, you only did like maybe 45.
Right.
But so I did that, and while I was doing that, I was qualifying, and I was just watching. I'm a watcher. I like to watch people. I like to watch what they do. I like to just observe and take it in before I make my decision. So I went and talked to egg hangers. They mess with the shit pumps too much. Nah, that's not for me, you know. So I didn't want to get it. They was always in the ox tank, so, and they was always staying late. So I was like, no, I'm good with that.
That's true.
So, sonar techs. Let's just say they did things behind the scenes that were not for me, putting stuff on your shoulders.
Oh yeah.
So
I've heard the stories.
Yeah. So I was like, nah, I'm good. Anybody do that, I'm gonna get kicked out for some old dumb stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, I'm good. Then the yeoman, I really thought, honestly, I'll tell you the truth, I thought about being a yeoman. One, because I wanted to be in everybody's business. Two, I just thought it was cool to be able to, your role on the boat is actually very important. You know, if you don't do what you do, a lot of stuff for people at home doesn't work so well. You know what I'm saying? So you can affect their pay, you can affect their leave, you can affect everything administratively. So I thought that was cool. But then when I seen the XO was always on your ass, I was like, nah, I'm good with that. You guys left way later than egg gang sometimes. So I was like, nah, I'm good. And you getting cussed out for a POD? Nah, not for me.
It's kind of refreshing hearing someone else like on the outside saying this shit, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, man, this is how I looked at all this stuff. And then at that time, there was I-Seaman. It was in between Navy Ts and quartermasters before they all became ETs. And I was like, oh, I-Seaman. Yo, that would be cool because I can take the electronics of what they teach you. It's called NEATS modules. And I can use that to hook up my own car stereo. I can hook up all kinds of electronic stuff like that. I was like, yeah, so that's something. And another thing, my thought process was, whatever I do, I want to be able to do it on the outside. I was thinking
long term.
I didn't know when I was going to get out, but I was thinking I need to take these tools and use it on the outside.
Hey, that's smart, man. Hey, you guys that are listening that are just joining, you got to think ahead like this man does, man.
Right.
You know, you might not be in the Navy for 20 years. You got to take those skills.
Yeah, 4 years, 8 years, 6 years, whatever you're going to do, you got to take the skills with you. So if you get to choose, even now when they come in as with a rated job, there's collateral jobs you can use, but that's another story.
Right.
So when I decided to go pick a rate, they closed down I-Seaman. So I was like, dang. So I literally 2 years on board, no rate. I was in deck div for that whole time. Now, while I was in deck div, I got qualified ships, I got qualified topside, I got qualified below decks, I got qualified helmsman, plainsman, lookout. Started working on my chief of the watch, even at that young age and all that. But
good for you. Shit, I never even tried that.
I'll tell you some more about that later. But I'll tell you. So when I realized that there was nothing else to do, I started looking at the storekeepers. I was like, man, where's the storekeepers at? Oh, they're at the warehouse picking up parts. Where's the warehouse? This is in Bangor, Washington. So I go up to the warehouse, I'm
That's
looking.
where I was.
Yeah. Oh man, it's beautiful, beautiful base.
I loved it. Yeah.
So I go to the warehouse. They're not around. Like, where's the storekeepers? Oh, they're gone for a day, man. They ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Bro, it's like noon. What are you talking about? They ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they already did what they had to do. Break down the parts for the boat that's out to sea right now. It's like, God dang. So finally, when I ever caught up with them on the boat, again, noontime. Where you guys going? Oh, we need to go to Surmont. We need to go to the warehouse. We need to. Everything they needed to do was off the boat, and they never came back. I was like, yo, that's the job for me. It was one of the. And then when I realized that so many people look to them, just like you, as a yeoman, you have to go through supply. As one of my buddies says, missiles don't fly without supply. So that's late. I got that one late, but that's true. So when I learned that, I was like, oh yeah, this is for me. You know, one, everybody needs to come to me. I don't need to go to nobody or nothing. And I got control once I understood the process. My strongest power was to say no, you can't do that. But it was no, you can't do that because.
I know that for a fact. I've seen that multiple times.
Yeah. I will say this too. If I was to go back and choose another rate, I probably would have been SK, LS now, whatever the hell they're
now
called.
LS, yeah.
Because to be honest, like the skills of logistics kind of transfer out a little bit better than yeoman executive stuff coming out. One of my buddies, Prox, I'm gonna shout him out. He's up in DC now, or actually I think he just got transferred somewhere else, but he's working big government now, making a ton of money and stuff like that. He did it right, man. He did it right. I'm proud of him for it, man. So yeah, if I was to go back, I would definitely choose SK.
Yeah, I have no regrets of it.
Or LS, I'm sorry.
No, I still call it. I think I put it on here SK.
Yeah.
But that was the best move I made, and like you said, it transfers over to the civilian world. Now that they call it logistics specialist, it's just easy. I just have to change a few words in my resume, and it translates easily. So
right on.
How was the submarine culture back in those days too, man?
Yeah, let's start from the 90s.
Okay.
Let's start from the 90s. Mm-hmm.
So for me, the submarine culture was so it's like music. Every generation says, "Oh, my music was better than your music." You know what I'm saying?
True.
So
okay.
just like that in the submarine culture, it was a little more edgy than it is now. You know, so I just say this: when I got my fish, my captain came up to me. It's like, listen, there's no more tacking on. As he went like this to me, putting on my fish. This is no longer allowed. So in I got on a boat in October '92, early '93. I was like you. I remember you saying you took like a long time to get your fish. I took the whole goddamn time that I could too. But he did that, and I was like, I walked away like, did the captain just tack on my fish and tell nobody else to do it? So it was a little edgier. But still, at that time in '92, when you left the cruise mess after getting your fish, you had 24 hours to keep them on.
Yeah.
Because you could not take them off. If you took them off, that was worse. They was going to rip you apart. So for 24 hours, I kept mine on. I even got to the last 2 to 3 hours. I was like, yo, I'm tired. I'm not looking for somebody to come around the corner. And I jumped in the cruise lounge and stopped the movie. It's like, yo, I got my fish. What? Before I could even get that statement out, I was on top of the table, bow, 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 and kicked out. I didn't even get I wasn't even allowed to watch the movie.
Wow.
You guys are fucked up. It was so good though. I got a little scar on it that I put a tattoo over. I got my fish on my chest forever now.
Yeah. I think that was, to be honest, I think that was one of the best traditions, man, even though it was painful and it was hazing, but you know, like that was that's some shit you remember, you know?
Because you felt like he really earned that honor of being with everybody else in the crew, man.
Yeah.
No, there was always a line that you didn't want to cross.
Sure.
And there was some idiots out there that always thought they was never the cool kids. Even when they was qualifying, they wasn't the cool kids. They just got their fish. So they always took it too far. And I never agreed with that. You know, I think, as I tell everybody on submarines, I probably told you this, Mike, too.
Yeah.
I said, nobody knows you like you know yourself. So the submarine world is tough mentally. And that's what I loved about it, because in the end, when the shit hits the fan, what you going to do? Are you there or are you going to run? There's nowhere to run. So you have to be there. So the submarines back in the 90s was, again, not as tough as it was before I got there, but it was still edgy.
There was one conversation that me and Evan had about cuddling.
Coddling, yeah.
Do you feel like once you got qualified and everything like that, you was a coddler, or you wanted to kind of stay with some of the same traditions? Or
were you a hater or were you a hugger?
I was in betweener. I say I was a tweener, because I never tapped on nobody's fish.
Okay.
I did go like that with it, like, yo, congratulations, boom.
Little love tap.
I never boom hit it in, try to break the frogs. I thought that was stupid, because they was trying to draw blood. I mean, again, it's too far. So I would go up to if I liked the person, I'd go up to the person, great job. Now you gotta look ahead. You know, I'll take them in and like, yo, what are you thinking about? Are you done? Or are you going to qualify something else? Excuse me. In the submarine force, and like I said earlier, I try to qualify a lot of things ahead of schedule. In the submarine force, you never stop qualifying. So once I understood that, I never allowed nobody to tell me you're behind in quals. You're thinking this. Why ain't you doing this? I already got that done. All right, I got 3 other qual cards that have nothing to do with me. It got to the point where people was telling me, like, hey, you're not supposed to be qualifying that. Why do you got that qual card? You need to give me that qual. No, I'm not giving you nothing. There's nothing that says.
That's a good problem to have. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So
I was in between. You know, I didn't go over far. I talked my trash. I joked my jokes and stuff like that. But I didn't. I don't think I ever really hazed anybody to that point. So.
Cool. So I mean, that was the '90s. So let's enter in up to 2001, 9/11.
9/11. So 9/11 was crazy. So I'll give you my first boat. I got to backtrack a little bit. My first boat was the USS Florida, SSBN, and that's
boomers.
Yes, boomer. I got my boomer pin. I don't got a golden one, thank goodness, but I got about 6 patrols under me.
Yeah, mine's a silver too.
I got 5 patrols and 6 missiles. So that was my first boat. I went to, where did I go? Shore duty. I went to Connecticut for shore duty, and then so that was from 96 to 2000. No, wait, about 96 to 2000, something like that. And then I got on board the U.S. Hyman G. Rickover. Great boat, good crew. Still in contact with a lot of people, and that's when 9/11 happened. Around that time, so we had just got back from a deployment, and I was on duty that day. I was duty SK, and that go on a cruise mess, and because we just got back, everybody was already on leave. It was down posture. There wasn't too many people working, and cruise mess had the TV on, and I go on there. I'm like, yo, what you guys watching? And nobody said nothing. Like, what's on TV? I'm asking you a damn question. You know how we get when you don't get no response. So now you start like, listen, motherfucker, I'm trying to talk to you. So, but everybody was silent. It's like, we're not watching nothing. This is the news. What are you talking about? This is news, man. There's a building on fire. There's a plane. Like, no, this is happening right now. And I was like, shocked. So I ran topside. I was like, I went to go call my mother, like, hey, what's going on? But the phone lines was flooded. Could not get through on a cell phone. could not get through for a good 20, 25 minutes. She's trying to call me as I'm trying to call her. And then because we just got back off of deployment, we was the surge boat. So everybody was on leave. We had people in New York. We had people in Connecticut. We had people all over that was on leave. We're trying to call them to get them back because we didn't know if we was going to be sent out to sea to possibly go fight. So it was a crazy time. And it just, even to talk about it just seemed surreal, you know, and it's heartfelt. I got friends that had family that was involved in it, that got caught up, that passed away. You know, luckily, none of our shipmates was within the vicinity of it or nothing like that. But it was crazy. It was like a movie that was just like real life. You know, like if aliens really came, that's the same stuff you would say. Like, what are you watching? This is for real. This is crazy. So that's what it was. It was just. I can't. I'm trying to describe it, but I promise you, I can't.
How much
the proper words?
I can only imagine.
Did the shift, the Navy shift after that? Because I'm sure, you know, security tightened up, a lot of things tightened up.
Yeah.
So, you know, how was that, especially on a boat, you know, how was that event? How did that affect everything else?
Well, not immediately while I was on board there. I ended up doing a split tour. But as I changed, I went from there actually to SEAL SDV Team 2, SEAL Delivery Team 2. But it didn't happen until probably about 2 years after you started seeing the security levels raised, because now they already wrote all the instructions and now it's being implemented, you know, where you couldn't take a cell phone to almost any place that was considered secure, you know. So just things. Okay, this is one thing I did definitely notice of that time frame. After 9/11, when everybody wanted to join the military, the shift of people that came in the military were at a different level.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they wasn't at the Navy wasn't recruiting at the highest level of people. They were just trying to get people in because we was going to war.
Yeah.
You know, and in the end, what that to me resulted in is the Navy lowering their standards all around. Mm-hmm. So we to me, they got softer, they accepted more, and they allowed the lower ranking personnel to respond back to in order.
So you think it's around 9/11? So Mike and I talk about this all the time about, you know, how it keeps getting, you know, progressively softer and softer. You think 9/11 was like kind of a tipping point of letting lesser tier type of people in?
Yes.
Got you.
Because, I mean, don't get me wrong now. There's a lot of people that came in because they wanted to, quote unquote, get the bad guy. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, where the Navy used to filter out certain people, it was just taking whoever was coming through the door.
Right.
You know, the recruiters' quotas were running through the roof. They didn't care. Mm-hmm. We know we're going to war. We're going to need all these people. So let's take whoever. If you got a record, don't worry about it. You know, if you got tattoos, as you see now, guys have full sleeves. They have neck tattoos, finger tattoos, and everything. Couldn't do that before. So Navy literally changed its rules and lowered its standards to me after 9/11. Right.
Yeah, no, that was that's definitely something, you know, we noticed back in, well, when we joined. I joined back in 2007. So I mean, to you, I would be one of those people that came in later on.
Necessarily. No.
I mean, well, not me, you know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll come on later on and stuff like that. But when I went through boot camp, they were still checking for tattoos and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe gang-related shit. Who knows? You know?
Right.
I know they mentioned that quite a few times. But at my time, they wouldn't let you in for, like, full sleeves and stuff. Like, coming in. I know you can, like, they had some policy where if, like, you can cover the tattoo up with your hands, you can get tattoo, and basically you could get a whole sleeve like that, you know. There's certain things like that, but yeah, dude, I can only imagine the standards that changed after 9/11, man. Because you're right, man. Like it was just an influx of people that wanted to serve, you know, and stuff like that. And like you said, the recruiters' quotas were off the charts.
Yeah, and they were doing their job. They was doing their job to get people in because we was going to war. So it ain't, to me, again, I wasn't a recruiter. I would never do recruiting, but that's what I seen when I seen some of the level of people coming in.
Yeah.
You know, some of them tapped out before they even got to the boat. Like you're going with submarines. Submarines are voluntary. This is you was never told this is what you're going to do. You volunteered for this. Now everything else after that is voluntold, but to get on, you volunteered. Said, yeah, that's cool. I like submarines. This ain't Hunt for Red October, buddy. You know.
So you say you did a split tour. So were boats out longer during that time for like deployment wise, fast attack wise, or even boomers? Was the patrol the same, or did they stay a little longer, or did the missions change up a lot?
Now, Jaime G. Rickover was a special. I won't say a special boat, but they did certain missions. So we, again, didn't have to do that. But I know a couple of sailors that were on their way home, and they turned them around. So they went from a 6 month, ended up to being a 9 month. So some boats were out there for 9 months. Nothing longer than that. Nothing longer than that. So it was some of the fast sets were just extended. Boomers, nah.
Did I hear you right? Did you say you worked with SEALs or the SDV teams, or what was it?
Yes, I worked. I did a split tour from the Rickover to the sail delivery vehicle team too.
Nice.
So what did you have to do for that? If you can talk about that. You know,
man, tell you, bro, that was one of my best duties ever.
I bet, yeah.
Those dudes, they're like us. You know, they're a small brotherhood. You know, they got their little jokes and stuff like that, but they are just like us. You know, a lot of fast attack guys don't give them a chance because they come on board. They just look at them like, oh, they come on board to eat our food. All they do is work out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you give them a chance, you really get to know them. Those dudes are cool as hell. But what I did was the same thing. I did supply. That's all I did. The best part about it was though, got qualified. I'm what they call a coxswain qualified. So those little ribs, the little rubber rafts that they drive, I know how to drive those. Inflated,
Nice.
deflated, little rib boats. They call them rib boats. So it's the hard boats with the rubber sides on it. Qualified to drive that. So we would go down to Key West and do ops out of there.
That's cool, man.
Nice.
That was crazy. So one time, real quick story was we was in Key West and we was doing a personnel transfer off the boat. We was getting some of the sails off that was doing their training. So they was trying to get the boat caught up with the mast, the multifunction mast. So with the multifunction mast is the longest antenna that you see when you see a submarine up. That's the longest one. It's used to transmit messages and radios. That's my knowledge of it. So, but so they was trying to, while the sub was, at periscope depth, they was trying to catch a rope on it. So they kept on radioing the boat saying, "All right, stop." What happens on the boat when somebody says stop? They gotta go through 3 other people before that person who's operating the switch stops it. So I was telling them, I was like, "Hey, listen, why don't you guys just tell them to say mark? If you tell them to say mark, there's no question, there's no nothing. When that person who's operating the switch hears mark, it's going to stop." So they did that. They was like, "Wow, how did you know that?" I said, "Dude, I got my fish." Submariner. It was like, "Oh, we forgot all about that." But I kind of changed that. I love that. That was cool. But
Nice.
So you implemented your own little procedure there, didn't you?
And then I explained to them what could really happen if something went wrong on the sub.
Yeah.
And they didn't realize the dangers that they was in, being 10 yards off the sub while it's at PD if they had to do an emergency blow, and we didn't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like, what? This is
Fucking broach and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was explaining to them. But we did a personal transfer one time at that probably next day, and Now I was supposed to just get luggage, right? It was a kind of heavy sea state, probably sea state 2 or 3. So I'm bumping it on the sub, you know, I'm riding it up, I'm getting them, got the bags, they're throwing them on. It was like, all right, we're gonna take the personnel too. I said, whoa, I'm just supposed to get bags. There's somebody else that's more qualified to do that. Like, no, we gotta go. So about 7 people get on board. I was nervous as all hell. I was like, I'm not sure how this works. I've seen it done from inside. I don't know. But after it was all said and done, the lead sale was like, that was the best transfer we ever had. I was like, really? Because I was about to pass out. I was like, I don't know about y'all, but that shit was scary. It was fun. I love that. I love that command. And the sales was like, hey, if you can work out, work out. If you can't work out, do something that's physically active. We're not trying to tell you to be sales. We're not trying to tell you to be divers, but we want you to be active, and that's all. So we would do workout PT every morning at 8. By 11, we was done PTing, go shower. By 12, we was quote unquote in our office, leaving to go to lunch. By 1, we was in our office doing some work, and by 3, we was out.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Wow.
Listen, so that's kind of what I want to get into next episode with you. I want to get on. I really like how you mentioned the whole SEAL submarine thing, the whole mentality and stuff. Like, kind of want to get into that because I've always been fascinated with Navy SEALs, and you know their whole lifestyle,
I got a couple
what they're
of
about.
stories on them.
That's great, man. So guys, this is Spencer, of course, Mike and myself. This is going to be our first episode of many with Spencer. I think this is going to be awesome. Really knowledgeable guy. I never met him in person before. Mike knows him from the Navy. He's got some stories. He's got some knowledge. We're going to keep this series going for a little while because I'm liking what I'm hearing right now.
Man.
So if you guys like what you're hearing, please give a like, subscribe, share with all your friends. It really does help us out. In that case, see you guys next time.
The devil's gonna come when the sun goes down. The devil's gonna come when the sun goes down.